Now, as many of you would have noticed, I am actually a Pommy. I'm here in Australia, but I've always loved and appreciated Australian fast saloon cars. And this is the one, the HSV GTSR W1. I've never driven one. It's the last of a generation of amazing cars, and the owners allowed me to drive it because it's coming soon to collecting cars.
Nice.
I'm not in Australia for long, but I said to the collecting cars team here, I've got to drive an HSV, because we had different badged HSVs in the UK for many years, and I loved them. There was a personality to them that was so brilliantly, brutally Australian. And they've divvied me up the one, the W1, 474 kilowatts. In my money, 637 horsepower. That is a shit ton of power. Torque, mental. I mean, well over 700 newton meters. It is a special car, this. The run out, this is the end of an era, isn't it? I think if you were like me and one of the few people in Europe that was watching V8 supercars from a young age, this has a significance well beyond what most people think of what would look like a normal Commodore. Listen to them. Wow, this is just fantastic. So much power, so much torque. The vehicle's just trying to manage the whole thing. You can feel it. Great road this is. I'm not going to say where we are. Oh yes. Very firm ride. Nice direct steering. A lot more throttle response than I'd expect as well. And this car has been used properly too. 37,000 kilometers. Let me just look at it from the outside. This is Aussie, literally, gold. I don't know what I'd liken it to, but the way that it goes about its business, being big and quite heavy and quite brutal, there's a bit of Aston Martin about this. Is HSV the Aussie Aston Martin? There's a question for you. What I can tell you is there's not many of these around. I'm told 299, is it? Or 297? And 20 of them went to New Zealand. So, this gear shift is much nicer than the last GTSR I drove. In fact, the whole thing just feels an awful lot sharper. Yeah, I'd have me one of these. You can keep your AMGs. Torque, really, really handy. There's one other thing about this car that for me shows it's been owned by a discerning gentleman. On our Collecting Addicts podcast, we debated the merits of the Alcantara steering wheel. We all agreed Alcantara has no place in a street car. If you've got racing gloves on, maybe, but it's a collector of mung, and I don't want other people's DNA. They get all crispy and horrible. They're like old socks. The owner of this car has changed it to a leather steering wheel. Small things like that make you realise that the boat that owned this, still owns it, understands what is right and what is wrong. Listen to that. Popson. It's easy to fall into the trap of talking about, you know, big Aussie characters, but this is, isn't it? This is, if you're a cricket fan, this is Merv Hughes in a car. It's Merv Hughes on four wheels. Snarling, but surprisingly comfortable and cosy when you want it to be. Has there ever been a car that has more single letter acronym numbers in its name? This is an HSV GTSR W1. There's no name in there at all. HSV GTSR W1. If they tried to put that all in badges across the back, there'd be no space for a boot. Sorry, a trunk. What do you call boots in Australia?
Boots.
Boots, there you go. There's an Australian sitting next to me. Suspension is firm. There's no fancy ride control, it's just a fixed rate spring damper, and it wants to be driven at speed so it can demonstrate the control it's got. At low speed, it's not that interested. This is a car of singular purpose. God. I always say this, I quite want one of these. Wish I had loads of money so I could buy all the cars that I want. Lovely steering on it as well. This is a bit of a doozy, this thing. What a noise. Ugh. Proper thing. LS9, supercharged. I know these Commodores are a big heavy body, but it feels like it weighs about 1,000 kilograms because it's got so much torque. You just sniff the throttle and it just lifts itself up down the road. Enough of me fawning over this beautiful machine. Get bidding now. M-Car, AMG, Audi RS. Nothing on this. This is so much cooler.